Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sarah Henry, the city's Public Information Officer. We have publicly noticed this meeting to allow members of the City Council to attend, and I can see that joining us today is Councilmember Jim Odie, and I expect that other council members might join us as well. We're also recording this meeting and we'll post it up on the city's website. Today, I'm going to give a quick update from the city's Emergency Operations Center. Then Eric Fonstein is going to give a quick update regarding economic development, and Kathy Weber, Executive Director of DABA, is going to share remarks and moderate a Q&A with you all. So I'm here at the city's Emergency Operations Center, where we remain activated for the COVID-19 pandemic. Last week, Bay Area counties issued a new health order that extended the shelter in place through May and loosened up the order somewhat, allowing for construction projects to resume, real estate transactions, outdoor businesses, and limited additional outdoor activities to resume. Then on Monday, the governor announced that the state would be moving into stage 2 later this week, where low-risk businesses would be allowed to start opening back up. And he said that he would announce guidelines and protocols this Thursday. But the county health order states that when there's conflict between the county order and the state, that the most restrictive provision controls. So I reached out to the county to ask for clarification, and I was told that the 7 Bay Area health officers are tracking progress on 5 key indicators that are in the latest order, and that it will take 2 weeks to see the effects of the loosening of the order that went into effect yesterday. The county said that they're cautiously optimistic that we're making progress towards safely opening up to the state's allowed activities in mid-May. The Bay Area started with a higher disease burden than the rest of the state, which is the reason for the tighter restrictions. And Assistant City Manager Jerry Bowden is on the call today to answer your questions about loosening of the order. But I have 2 more quick points. First, regarding testing, the city's exploring options, but for now, testing remains available from the county. And second, next week, we're excited to have State Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara join us on this call. And we know that he'll have a lot to offer the business community. But we wanted to ask you, who else would you like us to invite to these weekly town halls? Because we think it's a great idea to have a special guest each week. With that, I just want to thank you all again so much for being here. We really appreciate your partnership, and we look forward to seeing you in this setting every week. And so I'd like to now turn it over to Eric Fonstein.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I'm Eric Fonstein with the city's Community Development Department. Also on this call is Lois Butler and Amanda Gerke also from the Community Development Department. And there's just 3 things I want to mention. First is the Small Business Grants Program. The applications for the grants, which are $7,500, are due this Thursday night. The application process closes at 11:59. It's a computer program, so advise that you get your applications in well before the closing time. We're holding a question and answer webinar today at 3 p.m. And also the awards will be announced on Thursday, May 21st. And the funds will be dispersed within 30 days of the award date. Second thing I would like to mention is that we'll be hosting a webinar tomorrow, Wednesday, from 1 till 2:30 with the business advisors from SCORE and the Alameda County Small Business Development Center. And the topic will be preparing for the new normal and help to plan for uncertainty. So it should be a pretty informative question and answer following their presentations. And then finally, the Community Development Department has been working with both WABA and DABA for the reopening, which we anticipate hopefully in a couple weeks. We're talking about possible temporary zoning measures that could help free up curbside retail pickup and some measures for outdoor dining. But we're working very closely with the Public Works Department, the Planning Department, and Transportation on those measures. So hopefully more to come soon. So with that, I'd like to turn it over now to Kathy.
Thank you. Welcome everybody to Tuesdays at 2. It's nice to see all of these wonderful faces. Thanks so much for joining us. Just a quick little reminder that if you have questions, if you could go ahead and please type them into the chat box, and then we'll go through those and address those issues. Also, I'd like to take a minute to thank not only the DABA Business Association, but WABA, our chamber, as well as city staff and mayor and city council members for joining us and making themselves available to your questions. So with that, I have I had an email that came in that asked if I could share that the Alameda Sun is our community treasure of local news and interests and is an essential community need. Please support the Sun by continuing to advertise as they prepare for reopening. They've got some advertising offers to share that, to let people know that they're preparing, let people know that you are preparing to open for business. So thank you so much for sharing that. And then, also, let's see, we had a question. We can move on to the questions. We had a question: how many applications have been made to the Alameda Grant Fund? And Lois was kind enough to answer that with 187. So regarding the grants, please realize that I'm asking this, having figured out that we will be able to qualify after all. So in saying this, I'm saying so knowing that will make my chances much worse if it gets listened to. Not counting sole proprietors as employees is a serious mistake in terms of keeping the kinds of small retail businesses that make the texture of Alameda that we want. Let's see. The question here. What criteria does the city use to determine which businesses receive the awards?
This is Lois Butler. I will answer that question. In order to receive a grant, you have to have you have to show at least a 20% loss. You must have a small business of 1 to 25 employees. That requirement does not apply if you're a restaurant. You must be an Alameda business. You must have a current business license. If you're in a BIA, your assessment payment has to be up to date. We will take all the folks that meet the various criteria, and I may have missed a couple of them, but those were the basic ones. Once they meet it, they will go into a lottery and be selected from there.
And at this point, I would like to invite Mayor Ashcroft, if you'd like to say a few words to our gathering, and then I'll also offer to Councilman Odie.
Thank you so much, Kathy, and greetings to all the business community I see out there, and city staff, our hardworking city staff who've been doing a stellar job. And so we are, what are we, in the 7th or maybe more weeks of this shelter in place. I know you're hearing that some of the restrictions are being lifted slowly, but we still are taking our cue and following the lead of our county public health department, because their their top priority is slowing the spread of COVID-19 in our community. So that's why when we reopen, it's going to be gradual and with some, restrictions involved. But we're anxious to reopen, but we got to do it safely, because the last thing we want is to do this all over again. And I know at the conference call we had with County Public Health last week, the executive director of the department said that May is a really pivotal month for us, and they are still expecting a spike. But we can help control that by continuing to do what we do. And I will say, I'm so proud of my community. I check every day the numbers of new cases, and you can check it both by number but also per capita. And it's a formula of how many cases per 100,000 population. Our population is more like 79,000, but we're not the lowest in Alameda County per capita, but we're among the 4 or 5 lowest of, and that's of 14 cities and a number of unincorporated areas. And that's where I want us to continue to be. So thank you for the sacrifices you've made and everything you're doing to still keep your businesses as vibrant as possible during this time. I know that there was an announcement from the governor about opening curbside retail. I think he said that yesterday, but the county can always decide to take a more stringent position, which apparently they have now. I know I've got Assistant City Manager Jerry Bowden on here in the town hall. If we don't hear more today, there is another conference call with County Public Health tomorrow at noon. And I was talking to our city manager, Eric Hahn, earlier today, and I said, if it isn't addressed, that when can my Alameda County cities open again? I mean, I don't care about the whole county. I care about the city of Alameda. I do care about the whole county, but you, first and foremost, if that isn't addressed in the briefing, I will ask that question when they go to the cities, because there's a protocol that they hear from the federal offices and the state and the county, and then they go city by city alphabetically, so I always get to ask the first question or two. But I will ask that question. We'll see what they tell us. I cannot guarantee the answer you want, but I know they're working hard to know when the right time is. And then what I want to say about the applications, I mean, I can do the math. There's more applications than the funding would allow. We are looking at other avenues. I believe that staff is coming back to the council, not tonight, but 2 weeks from tonight on the 19th, to talk about this community foundation that the council approved looking into. So we're looking at getting philanthropic donations from community members, from businesses. There's already been interest expressed to help our small businesses, to help our renters, to help community organizations. So we want you, to stay physically and fiscally healthy, and just keep doing what you're doing. You are making a difference, and stay in touch, especially with our staff at Economic Development, Community Development. They're rock stars. They are up to date on the information that can help you all out. So thank you, Kathy, for giving me time to speak.
Yes. Councilmember Odie.
Sure, thank you. Just give me 1 second to get the wording on this right. So before I just say a few remarks, I just wanted to ask our staff if we had any more information on the Great Plates Delivered. That was the Newsom proposal to have restaurants deliver meals to seniors, or if we have a resource number or anything that you know of.
Jerry, did you want to take that one, or do you want me to? You're probably a little more up to date.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure that I am more up to date on it. I know we were looking into it yesterday, but I haven't heard a report back on it today. So you may have more than I do today.
So last week, with about an hour and a half advance notice, I heard from the League of California Cities that there was a conference call for mayors and city managers statewide about this Great Plates Delivered program, which is run through California Department of Agriculture, Office of Emergency, FEMA, OES, and something else. And so what we're looking into, and this is a program, it would serve middle income seniors, because lower income seniors are already supported by programs like CalFresh and others. So it's a matter of how many qualifying seniors in that category there would be. If there are other ways to make sure that they're getting meals, because one of the main criteria or objectives of this program is the governor is very concerned, as are we, that especially seniors who live alone and don't have a family network or support system nearby. I mean, there's horror stories out of New York that they came to someone's apartment on more than one occasion and found a senior dead. And so I'm not saying that's happening here, but we'd certainly want to avoid it. So it's always a matter of staff bandwidth, because somebody has to administer it. And do the connections. But what the program essentially does is pay a restaurant to prepare to specified criteria meals that could be up to 3 a day, and then have them delivered. The person who does the delivery has to go through a background check because these are some of our most vulnerable people. We're going to make sure that our seniors are being cared for and that no one is going hungry. I'm not sure if we'll have the bandwidth to be able to participate in Great Plates Delivered, but I know city staff, among the many things they're multitasking on right now, are doing that, looking into it. So more later.
Okay, I mean, thanks for that update. I mean, I know that it was announced on the 24th, and today is what, the 5th, and it's running to June 10th. So,
well, it was running to May 10th, but they talked about
June 10th.
asking for a 90-day extension that they were almost certain that they were going to get. That was something that came up in the phone call.
Well, we'll believe that when we see it, so that's good. And then there also is an agenda item tonight for more input on the $600,000 grant program. I did the math too, and even if we cut off now and granted everybody, which we're not authorized to, it's 1.4 million. So hopefully you all can at least provide some input into that discussion item. It's agenda item 2A on the 701 special meeting. Lastly, I do want to thank our staff. Our staff has done a lot. And not only have they reacted, what I think they're also doing is now preparing for the opening, because whether it happens this week or next week or in 3 weeks, one of the things I think we need to be ready for is to have a plan to open, because we didn't have a plan to shut down. So I know Lois and Eric and Debbie Potter, who's not on this call, and Jerry are all working on that. So your city will be here to support you. The one thing I did want to say on that sole proprietorship, I was under the understanding that sole proprietors were entitled to some EDD money, but if that's not the case, then there may be some tweaks to our plan that need to be made to make sole proprietors eligible. I think I brought that up when we had the discussion at the meeting last time. So I'm encouraging you all to hang in there. I know it's really tough. It's tough for all of us. Like I think I said either on this call or another one, we didn't sign up for just the good times. We signed up for times like this. And again, I think our city staff has really just shown how great they are. So, and we're here to support you in any way we can. So keep sending us your ideas. And I enjoy these calls because sometimes it's fun just to listen and not talk all the time.
Thank you. And I second what Jim said about the staff. And in addition to our great community development folks and Assistant City Manager, Sarah Henry, our Public Information Officer, has been doing an outstanding job keeping you all informed and advised about so many different topics. And the situation is just changing by the minute. By the way, I'll just make a little announcement because you could ask your own questions. This Friday of Alameda County's Public Health Officer, Dr. Erica Pan, and she's going to be my guest on my mayor's COVID-19 town hall, which is this Friday, May the whatever May is, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Thank you, Jim. He's a math guy, CPA. Anyway, May the 8th at noon, at 12 noon, Dr. Erica Pan will be my guest. She'll talk about COVID, about lifting the shelter in place. She will answer your questions. So tune in. It's a Zoom meeting. You can find more information on the city's website. And I saw a question come by about the AMP, about your AMP bills and AMP rates. I know that AMP, our Alameda Municipal Power, our locally owned electric utility, has said if you're having trouble paying your bills, reach out to them. Don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call. They will work something out with you.
Great. Thank you. So we've got a few questions that have come in. One is, will camps and childcare be open with phase 2. And then there's another that's, that also refers to businesses like High Scores Arcade, Twirl, Swings and Wings, the bowling alley, businesses that don't fall into retail or restaurants. Where are they in the phased timeline?
Okay, so the first one on the camps and activity recreation programs, what we were told last week at the county public health briefing is that those programs would be open for the children of people who have been allowed to go back to work. So your essential workers, your construction workers now, other areas that have been opened up. I asked the question on the call, if there were room in these programs, more slots available, would other children be allowed to enroll? And I got we'll get back to you. We'll look into it and get back to you on that. So stay tuned for more information. I know summer's coming up and it's so important for the kids to have activities. As far as these other businesses that you mentioned, Kathy, those are all businesses that exist because people come and congregate there. And so that will definitely not be phase 2. I'm not sure which phase it will be, but that's something that we'll be working with public health on. I mean, social distancing, and I think you all know this, that it is still important, essential to stay 6 feet away from someone who doesn't live in your same household. So whether you're in a work setting or out on the street, stay 6 feet away, and when you're out of your house, wear your mask. And so right now, those are the things that are helping slow the spread of COVID-19. The other thing is activities that you mentioned, they have these shared surfaces, and that's one of the vectors that the COVID-19 virus is can live on and can be spread by touching it and touching your nose or breathing on someone else. And so that's going to be a little longer, I'm sorry to say.
We have a question about the reopening and wondering about putting a plan together for the requirements, safe practices for curbside pickup, and where is that process, and how can businesses assist in that?
Oh, my economic development gurus, I know they're all over this one. Take it away, people.
So we're just starting to work with the planning department on exactly how we are going to reopen. If you have input to give me on anything that you would like to see, you can feel free to email me at lbutler@alamedaca.gov, and I will provide that to the groups of people that are working on this. Also, your business associations, your chamber, and GABA are also meeting with us to give us input on what they think we should be doing to open up. So if you have anything that you would like to suggest, I welcome that. Thank you.
Thank you. Another question is, what does the city see for the future of small business in Alameda? I was starting the process of opening a business here, but the landscape looks pretty bleak. Any new support measures being discussed?
Well, I will say that I am certain the council will be discussing this often in the coming weeks and months. What I would say is I think Alameda is not only as good a place as any, it's better than many, maybe most communities to start a new business, a small business. We really have a downtown. In fact, we don't just have one downtown, we have two. And I think our community has been very supportive of their small businesses. We miss you. My husband and I take turns every Friday night. We pick a different restaurant somewhere in Alameda, and it's our walk to go pick up our dinner to go. And I think that there is just going to be this pent-up demand for people, you know, as we start easing the restrictions and they can come out. I heard someone say something about outdoor dining. Wow, I hadn't even heard that, but I think the demand is there, the interest is there. I want to temper that by saying I also know that this shelter in place time has been very hard on some people's economic situation. Some people are out of work or they're working fewer hours. If, you know, they may have lost a job and not have health care. So not everybody's going to have the same disposable income, but I do believe Alameda is a community that supports its local businesses, and it's why we have such a lovely, thriving, vibrant small business community.
Thank you. So we have a question about the opportunity to comment before programs get announced, so that we can avoid being told maybe with the next program. So what are some of the best ways for the business community to kind of connect on what it is that, you know, specific the community, for example, the sole proprietor?
Well, and I'm happy to have anybody else's input. We post on our city's website, right? And we have a section, economic development section.
So for this program, we posted for the city council meeting, and for the next program as well, we will post for the city council meeting. Also, if you would connect with your business association, I believe that the person who asked the question is in a business association. We have, for the next program, we have indicated to them that they could send the link to the next meeting to anyone within their, whoever they want to send it to. And if someone wants to come to the meeting about the community fund, we can also send you a link to that Zoom meeting that we're having prior to us going to council.
And Lois, don't you have an email list? You blast emails out sometimes, I think.
We do, but we haven't blasted an email out about the community fund per se. We've mentioned different things, but Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we've emailed out about the community fund that we're developing.
Hi, Amanda. And it was that, I might not have correctly understood the question. Was it specifically about this new program, the community fund, or in general, if a new program is being?
I think mostly, you know, specifically about this, but in general, yeah, in general, as you know, as programs and thoughts are being, you know, and ideas are being shared.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, we talk with the business associations and run things by them. And so if you're in touch with your business association, and you should get updates. It's really difficult for us to manage speaking with a ton of people. So we grab information from them. And we try to distill it based on what we hear from them.
One thing we might be able to do going forward is, if we're continuing to have these Zoom town hall meetings, is if we're bringing ideas to a council meeting in a week or two, to be able to just flag those in this environment. It might offer an opportunity for at least the people on to also get that information, and then we're still going to be communicating with the associations and other groups.
That sounds good.
To the mayor's point, if anybody's not receiving those emails from the Economic Development Department, they're very regular and they're great. So just email econdev@alamedaca.gov and you'll be added to that list.
Thanks, Sarah.
And also for your business association, if you are not currently receiving the emails, we're sending out quite a number of communications. So simply get in touch with either myself or Linda or somebody at the chamber and make sure that you're added to that list. I know from time to time people may inadvertently unsubscribe to something, and it's a good time to be in the loop. So thank you all. We have a question about, is there going to be an appeal type process for congregating businesses to show that the business can run with social distancing and proper cleaning requirements and being compliant?
Well, again, I'm not making those rules. The city council isn't. It is the county public health department. What I would hope is, and the governor talked about this a couple weeks ago in a press conference, that he called it, the new floor plan, that restaurants, schools, businesses, they're just going to have to set things up differently. So my hope is that when the plan is rolled out for how these businesses can start to reopen, that there are criteria and guidelines. It shouldn't be a guessing game. You just want to get back in business. So we're not at that point yet, but when we are, I'm hopeful that you'll have the information you need. And if you don't, there's certainly ways to reach out to public health.
I'll just add that in the order that was effective May 4th, there's the whole order, and at the end there are all of these protocols. And this is, of course, for the existing order, so it's about construction, it's about social distancing for businesses that
Right.
are. But it's so detailed, and the county, they're doing so much work to tell businesses, okay, here are your guidelines, here are your protocols. So I encourage everybody to go into the existing order, read those protocols, because that'll give you a good idea of probably what's to come.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Let's see, and we have a question. Please explain about the 2 council meetings tonight. When will the various items be discussed?
Okay.
I'll defer to the mayor on that one.
Well, I was going to say, Jim, you can talk about that.
Well, you run the meeting, so.
Yeah, it's a team sport. We added this special meeting. Let me just get to it. I'm on my iPad here. And the reason we added this special meeting, which will follow our regular agenda, is that staff wanted to have an update on this $600,000 COVID-19 relief fund that is general fund monies, because they could see as the applications were pouring in, it wasn't going to be enough. So that, and if it's a special meeting, because if it was just a regular meeting, we have 12 days that have to go by before an item can go on the meeting. We just felt that time was of the essence. So we'll just stay in the same room. We'll all be on our screens. And then when we finish our regular meeting, we will move right into the special meeting.
Yeah, and I think last meeting we flip-flopped. So, if the council decides they want to do that, then we'll do that, right?
Yeah, Jim and I are not discussing items outside Brown Act violation, but I will say, just sort of for housekeeping, one of the things we'll do is we'll ask the city clerk to see how many public comments have come in on a particular item, and if it looks like there's a whole bunch on one and very few on another that's higher up in the agenda, we might vote to change the order of the agenda. And just so you all know, at the top of the agenda, when you go online to the city's website and take a look, are the instructions for how you can comment publicly by, well, gosh, tonight we're on Zoom. So let's see what we're,
While you're doing that, there's also a referral on there that the mayor put to help find alternate funding for some of these programs. So we touched a little bit about it in our last meeting, but we can have a longer discussion about that idea, which was a great idea, by the way.
Well, yeah, that's this community fund that we've been talking a little bit about. Yeah, so
Right.
that's, yeah. No, we're trying to you know, stay current and up to date. And okay, and Sarah's putting out a little more information about the special meeting item. But I hope I answered your question, Ron Mooney.
And then,
Right.
and in that, there is an agenda to that as well, Sarah?
There is a, do you mean a staff report? Because the agenda is just the one item, but there is a staff report talking about item 2A, this special item, which is the recommendation to receive an update on the $600,000 COVID-19 Small Business Relief Grant Program to, well, on and on. So anyway, there is a staff report that goes along with it, and you can also find that on the city's website.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How is the city handling businesses that don't comply with county guidelines, particularly gyms?
Well, I hope that there are no gyms open, but if there are, you can do one of a couple of things. You can email the city. There's also on Alameda County Public Health Department's website, so ACPHD. Sarah, you tell me.
That's it, acphd.org.
Yes, thank you. You will find on their COVID page, there is an email address and also a phone number. So if you come across a non-compliant business, then you can just, give them the specific information. On this day at this time, I saw, XYZ business open, and I believe that's in violation of the order. You email or you leave your voicemail. The county sheriff oversees that email, and he then sends those messages to whatever the jurisdiction's police department is, or if it's unincorporated area of the county, would go to the county sheriff, and they look into it. And so, I mean, there have been some citations that have been issued. What our police department has done in the beginning is they want to stress education over enforcement. We're all kind of learning, but now we're enough weeks into this that we should be a little clearer about what's going on. But yeah, I would say we have not had a lot of cases that needed to be cited. But if indeed you see something you think shouldn't be open, the best thing to do, I think, would be to go to the county public health website and put that into an email, and you make an official report.
Thank you. And then I have a question about the Zoom link for the city council meeting. Is that on the city's website?
I'm adding it. It's being done by Zoom, but it's being broadcast through the same way that our typical meetings are broadcast.
Oh,
So you
okay.
still watch the live broadcast through the website. You don't actually join the Zoom meeting directly.
Ah, got it. Okay. See, she knows more than I do. And Sarah, if you know, when people are asking questions, will it be this way that they submit their
No, it'll be the same way as it has been. So
Okay.
basically people can text, they can leave a voicemail, they can send an email. And the three ways of participating during the meeting are on the agenda itself.
top of the agenda? Yeah. Okay, great. I learned more just now.
Well, thank you. We've reached the bottom of our questions. There are no more. I think we can just have, if there's any final closing remarks that anybody would like to make. I'm especially appreciative of everybody's time and willingness to participate in this exchange. So thank you all very much.
Well, thank you all for being here, and for all the staff for the hard work supporting these efforts. And we hope to see you soon in your businesses. Take care, everyone.
Thank you,
Stay
everyone.
safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.